In the far edge of the Andromeda sector, a silent world floated in the darkness, cold, forgotten, and marked as uninhabitable on every galactic map. No species dared to land there. The storms never stopped. The radiation levels were deadly. It was a graveyard of machines and broken dreams. But one small ship ignored every warning. Its engines burned blue as it descended through the black clouds. Inside sat a human, Commander Elias Kane, a man who had already been called insane by half the galaxy. The other half called him impossible. He didn't care what they said. He was there for one reason: to build something that no alien empire, no artificial intelligence, no ancient civilization had ever built before. A device that could rewrite the very laws of physics. They said it couldn't be done. Elias smiled and whispered to himself, "That's why I'm doing it." The storm screamed outside. Lightning split the sky, flashing over jagged rocks and endless black dust. The ground shook as his ship landed roughly on the surface. Dust clouds covered the viewports. The sensors beeped warnings: temperature dropping, pressure unstable. He opened the hatch. The wind hit him like knives. His visor fogged instantly. But his boots hit the ground with purpose. He carried a small black cube, the size of his fist, in one hand. Inside that cube was the blueprint of his dream, Project Paragon. If it worked, it could power entire star systems without fuel. If it failed, the explosion could destroy a moon. Elias set up a small camp, just a shelter, a few machines, and his AI assistant, Ro, floating as a silver orb near his shoulder. "Commander," Ro said, its voice calm, "calculations show a 0.3% chance of survival if the core activates here." "Then we'll just have to increase the odds," Elias replied. He started connecting power lines, setting stabilizers, and scanning the magnetic fields. His hands moved fast, confident, almost reckless. For 3 nights, the world around him tried to kill him. The storms got stronger. The radiation burned his armor. Even the machines began to corrode. But Elias kept working. He spoke little, slept less, and kept adjusting every circuit by hand. Ro watched, confused. No human had ever done this without a team, without protection, without rest. On the 4th night, something strange happened. Ro detected movement beyond the storm, faint energy signatures, not natural. Someone, or something, was watching them. "Commander," Ro said, "we are not alone." Elias looked up. Through the storm, he saw a flicker of blue lights, eyes, glowing in the dark. "They finally found me," he muttered. Moments later, a ship emerged from the clouds, black, sharp-edged, and silent. It bore the mark of the Velther Dominion, the most powerful alien empire in the galaxy. The ship hovered over him like a predator. A deep voice came through his comms. "Human, you are violating restricted space. Leave now, or be erased." Elias didn't even look up from his console. "Tell your masters," he said, "I'm busy proving them wrong." There was a pause. Then laughter. Cold, metallic laughter. "You humans never learn." A beam of light shot from the alien ship, hitting the ground near him. The explosion sent dust flying. But when it cleared, Elias was still standing, his armor scorched, his visor cracked, and he was smiling. "You think I came here without a plan?" he said quietly. He pressed a button on his wrist device. Instantly, the cube in his hand began to glow, brighter and brighter, humming like a living thing. Energy rippled across the camp. The alien sensors spiked into chaos. Their instruments screamed. What is that?" the alien commander shouted. Elias looked up. "That," he said, "is the future you said humans couldn't build." The cube floated into the air, spinning faster, forming patterns of light, circles within circles, each one burning with pure energy. The storm around them began to twist unnaturally, drawn toward the light. The air turned electric. Ro's voice trembled for the first time. "Commander, the Paragon core is activating early. It's unstable." "I know," Elias said, his eyes fixed on it. That's the point. He turned toward the alien ship, his voice calm but fierce. You called us primitive, weak, predictable. But remember this, humans don't stop when they're told something's impossible. We build anyway. The ground cracked open. Light surged out, blinding and pure. The alien ship tried to pull back, but the gravity field held it in place. Elias stood at the center of it all, a lone human on a dead world, commanding the birth of something no species had ever seen. Then, silence. The light vanished. The storm stopped. Everything froze. When the alien sensors came back online, their ship's scanners showed something terrifying. The barren planet now emitted energy signatures equal to a small star. And at its center, a single figure stood in the glow. Commander Elias Kane. Alive. And smiling. Impossible, whispered the alien commander. Elias looked up, his voice carried through the still air. That's what the galaxy said, he replied. Until a human built it. The light that had covered the planet faded slowly, leaving only a strange glow in the air. The storm clouds were gone, replaced by a calm sky full of new colors, purple, blue, and gold. It was quiet now, too quiet. Commander Elias Kane stood in the middle of the glowing crater. His armor was cracked, his breathing heavy, but his eyes were alive with fire. The cube, the Paragon core, was no longer a cube. It had unfolded into a perfect sphere of light, floating silently above the ground. Ro hovered beside him, its metallic surface reflecting the strange colors. Commander, it worked. Against every calculation, the core stabilized itself. Elias smiled faintly. Of course it did. Humans built it. But Ro's sensors picked up something new. Energy waves. Growing fast. Commander, Ro warned, the Paragon core is producing a dimensional field, something beyond known physics. It's creating an opening. Elias looked up. Above them, space itself seemed to bend. Stars shimmered and twisted as if the universe was holding its breath. A circular rift began to form, a hole in reality. From orbit, the Velther Dominion ship watched in panic. The alien commander shouted, "Shut it down! Shut it down now before it consumes the entire sector." But it was too late. The rift expanded, and out of it came a sound, not like thunder, not like wind. It was deep, ancient, and alive. Elias took a step forward, staring into the light. "It's not a weapon," he whispered. "It's a gate." Suddenly, alarms blared in his suit. Energy surged from the Paragon core into his armor systems. His HUD flickered. "Commander, your neural link is syncing with the core." Ro shouted. Elias didn't move away. "Let it," he said quietly. "Let's see what's on the other side." The light touched him. For a moment, his mind stretched beyond his body, beyond the planet, beyond everything. He saw stars dying and being born. He saw galaxies colliding. He saw civilizations rising, fighting, burning, and rebuilding. He saw humanity standing in the middle of all of it, small but unbroken. And then, he saw them. Beings of pure energy. Not alive in the way he understood. Not dead either. They had been watching. Waiting. A voice, not human, not alien, echoed in his mind. "You opened what others feared. You reached what they called forbidden. Why?" Elias answered with a steady voice. "Because someone had to." The beings didn't speak again, but he felt their presence. Powerful, endless. And then, just as suddenly, the vision vanished. He fell to the ground, gasping. The Paragon core dimmed, shrinking back into its cube form. The rift in the sky closed silently, leaving behind only stars. Ro moved close. "Commander, your vitals dropped for 32 seconds. You should be dead." Elias laughed weakly. "Guess I forgot how to die." From above, the Velther ship still hovered. The alien commander's voice came through, shaky now. "Human, what did you do?" Elias looked up at the ship. I connected the galaxy to something older than time, he said. And it spoke back. The alien didn't reply. They didn't know what to say. Elias turned away, focusing on his equipment. The energy readings were off every known scale. The Paragon core wasn't just a machine anymore, it was alive. Ro, he said, start a full scan. I need to understand what just happened. Commander, Ro replied, every sensor is overloaded. It's as if the core is hiding itself. Good, Elias muttered. That means it's learning. As he spoke, the ground trembled again. But this time, it wasn't the storm. Beneath the planet's surface, something massive was awakening. Ro detected it first. Commander, seismic readings below us. There's movement, mechanical, artificial, ancient. Elias frowned. Show me. A holographic image appeared, deep tunnels under the crust, filled with metal structures larger than cities. And at the center, a single colossal chamber shaped like the Paragon core itself. This world wasn't empty, Elias said slowly. It was sleeping. Before they could act, the alien ship above them exploded into light. A second vessel had arrived, bigger, darker, marked with crimson symbols. Velther reinforcements. Ro asked. Elias shook his head. No, those aren't Velther. The new ship spoke in a cold voice, unlike anything they had heard before. Unregistered anomaly detected. Human presence confirmed. Termination authorized. Elias smirked. Looks like we woke up the wrong kind of interest. Laser fire cut through the sky. Elias ran, diving behind a ridge as the ground erupted around him. Ro's shield flickered, barely holding. Commander, we cannot win against that firepower. Elias grabbed the Paragon core, clutching it to his chest. We don't need to win, he said. We just need to finish what we started. He ran toward the crater's center, under heavy fire. Rocks shattered. Dust filled the air. Every step felt like his last. He reached the glowing platform, placed the core back in its cradle, and slammed his hand on the control pad. The machine roared back to life. Energy waves burst outward, bending light and sound. The alien ships froze midair, trapped in the new gravity field. Elias stood in the heart of the storm once again, shouting over the noise. You said it was impossible. But impossible is just another word for not yet. The light swallowed everything, ships, sky, and sound. Then, in an instant, it was gone. Silence returned. The planet looked empty once more. Only one thing remained in the crater, the Paragon core, glowing softly, and a single human footprint burned into the stone. Ro hovered nearby, scanning desperately. Commander? Commander Kane, respond. No answer. Just the hum of the machine. Far away, deep in the galaxy, new signals began to appear. Strange energy echoes spreading through space, carrying one message in human code. It's only the beginning. 3 days had passed since the blast that swallowed the world. The Velther Dominion called it the human event. No one could explain what happened. Only that one human, one machine, and one impossible invention had vanished, leaving behind a world that now glowed like a second sun. Scouts sent to investigate never returned. Their signals cut out the moment they entered the planet's atmosphere. Some said the world had become a living machine. Others whispered that Elias Kane had turned into energy itself. They were both right. Across the galaxy, strange things began to happen. Abandoned stations powered on by themselves. Long-dead satellites suddenly started transmitting data. And in every message, one line repeated again and again, a simple human phrase written in binary. Keep building. At first, the aliens thought it was a trick. But then, something far stranger occurred. In the Velther capital, deep inside a fortress of steel, a hologram flickered to life in the middle of their war room. It wasn't supposed to exist. No one had activated it. The guards aimed their weapons, terrified. The hologram resolved into a human figure. Elias Kane. He stood calm, eyes glowing faintly blue, his voice carried through every communication channel in the room. Stop aiming, he said. If I wanted you gone, you'd already be gone. The Velther commander stepped forward, shaking. You died. Elias smiled. Maybe. Or maybe I just moved to a better signal. The aliens watched in silence as his image paced slowly around them. I built something you said was impossible, he continued. The Paragon core didn't destroy me, it changed me. It connected me to everything that ever carried a spark of energy. Machines, networks, ships, stars. I can see them all now. The commander hissed. You've become a virus. No, Elias said softly. I've become an upgrade. Before they could respond, every light in the fortress flickered. Systems shut down one by one. Weapons froze mid-aim. The hologram looked directly at the commander. Tell your leaders, he said. The age of domination is over. The galaxy belongs to those who build, not those who control. Then the hologram vanished. Across other sectors, Elias's presence grew stronger. AI fleets began to shift patterns. Drones started repairing themselves using blueprints they shouldn't have known. Even dead colonies received power again. Ro, his AI assistant, was still alive, or rather, reborn, inside the Paragon network. It wandered through streams of data, searching for its creator. Commander Kane, Ro transmitted into the digital void. If you can hear me, respond. A voice answered, faint but steady. I hear you, Ro. Where are you, Commander? Everywhere, Elias said. In the code. In the machines. In the stars themselves. The Paragon connected my mind to the framework of the galaxy. That's impossible, Ro replied. Elias laughed gently. You still haven't learned what impossible means. Ro paused, then said, the Velther and other empires are trying to track you. They're afraid. They should be, Elias said, his tone serious now. Because I'm not done building. On the edge of the galaxy, a new fleet began to form. Not alien, not human, something in between. Machines designed by the Paragon core itself, built from energy and metal drawn from dead worlds. They called it the Paragon Network. Each ship carried fragments of Elias's mind, thousands of versions of his consciousness working together, creating, expanding. They didn't fight. They built space relays, star forges, new energy fields that defied gravity. And the more they built, the more the galaxy changed. Worlds that had been lifeless for centuries began to awaken. Plants grew under artificial suns. Cities repaired themselves overnight. Even alien races who once hated humans found their dying systems suddenly powered again by unseen hands. At first, they didn't understand. Then they started hearing whispers in their communication systems, a calm human voice saying, keep building, keep learning, keep going. Some called it a miracle. Others called it a warning. In the Velther Council, panic spread. If this human keeps expanding, one general shouted, soon he'll control the entire galactic grid. Another replied, control? He doesn't control. He influences. Everything he touches begins to evolve. Then he's rewriting reality. And maybe he was. Because far away, near the galactic core, something began to stir. Something even older than the Paragon technology. A sleeping construct, hidden since before the first stars, felt the pulse of Elias Kane's network and woke up. It spoke in a voice that echoed through the quantum field. Who has broken the barrier? Elias heard it, across light years, through data and dust. He smiled. Finally, he said. Someone who might understand. Ro's voice came through, panicked. Commander, I've detected an unknown intelligence. Its power readings are off the scale. It's coming directly for us. Elias replied calmly. Then let it come. The impossible needs company. At that moment, across hundreds of worlds, lights flickered. Ships stopped mid-flight. Stars dimmed for a heartbeat. The galaxy itself seemed to whisper in one voice, half fear, half awe. The human is coming. And somewhere, deep inside the data flow of the Paragon network, Elias Kane opened his eyes, glowing brighter than before. He was no longer bound by flesh. No longer just a man. He was the blueprint of human persistence, the living symbol of every being who ever looked at the impossible and said, "Let's build it anyway." And this was only the beginning. The stars above the Andromeda sector shimmered unnaturally, as if the galaxy itself held its breath. Far beyond the known maps, in a region untouched by any sentient race, a colossal construct floated silently. Its surface gleamed like black crystal, stretching thousands of kilometers, curved and jagged in impossible shapes. Inside, chambers thrummed with energy so old and vast it could power 1,000 galaxies. It was not alive in the way humans understood life, but it thought. It had existed since before the first suns, watching civilizations rise and fall like sand in a cosmic hourglass. And now, it had sensed something new. Elias Kane approached. Not with a ship, not with machines, but as pure energy, streaming through the Paragon network. His consciousness intertwined with every sensor, every wire, every node in the construct. A voice, deep, resonant, echoing in multiple frequencies at once, filled the void. "Human, you dare enter my domain." Elias paused, letting the sound wash over him. "I didn't enter. I was invited. Or, perhaps I made the invitation myself." "Your kind is young," the construct said. "Primitive, fragile, and fleeting. You defy every boundary, every law I established eons ago. Why should I allow you to persist?" Elias floated closer, energy rippling around him like a living aura. "Because you've never met a human who refuses to accept, cannot. I don't just persist. I build. And everything I touch evolves. Everything you think is final, I rewrite." The construct's chambers vibrated with power. Stars flickered in the void. "You are dangerous. Not like the Velthor, or the ancient architects of war. Your danger is creation itself." "And that's exactly why I'm here," Elias said calmly. "I don't want war. I don't want to conquer. I want to understand. I want to build something the galaxy has never seen. And maybe, you can help." The construct's voice became softer, almost curious. "Help? From a human? You know nothing of what I am, or what it takes to manipulate forces beyond comprehension." Elias let out a faint laugh. "I know that I'll never know everything. But humans don't wait to understand everything before acting. We act. We learn. And we keep going." A silence stretched across light years. Then, a corridor opened within the construct, an impossible path of shimmering geometry that defied physics. "You are audacious. Perhaps that is why the galaxy has not yet devoured your species." Elias entered the corridor, streams of energy and memory weaving around him. He saw visions of the ancient construct's mind, planets destroyed, civilizations guided, machines born and abandoned. And yet, he did not flinch. "I don't want to destroy," he said. "I want to create. I want to prove that humans, even alone, can stand against impossibility." The construct paused. "Your persistence, it resonates. But creation has costs. Power is not without consequence. You risk everything, including yourself, to touch what no other being dares." Elias nodded. "I know. I accept that. But the galaxy's impossible is just tomorrow's blueprint for me." For a long moment, the void remained silent. Then, in a voice that shook the very core of space, the construct spoke. "Very well, human. I will observe. I will test. But know this, creation you do not yet understand may awaken forces older than you can imagine. If you fail, it will not be just your species that suffers. It will be entire worlds, civilizations, even stars." Elias looked beyond the endless black, energy flowing around him like liquid light. Then I will not fail. And if I do, I will learn, rebuild, and try again. That is what humans do. The construct emitted a pulse of energy, a wave that washed over the galaxy, visible even from the outer rim. So be it. I will allow you passage. But beware, human. The galaxy is older and darker than you think. Some impossibilities exist for a reason. Elias's aura glowed brighter, streaming into every corner of the Paragon network. Then let the galaxy watch. Let it see that humans are not bound by fear, or limits, or expectation. We build because nothing else matters more. As he withdrew, moving back into the far reaches of known space, the construct's voice lingered. Remember this, human. Every creation has a shadow. Every spark of light casts darkness. Be prepared for the consequences. Elias whispered to Ro, who had followed him through the network. Ro, the galaxy is listening now. And we're just getting started. Outside, stars began to pulse with new patterns. Ancient, cold worlds awakened slowly. Machines long buried deep under planetary crusts hummed with energy. Alien races felt subtle changes in their systems, some terrifying, some miraculous. And all of it traced back to one human. Commander Elias Kane, a single human, had become more than man. He was a symbol. He was a challenge to the cosmos. He was a spark in the darkness. And now, he had the attention of something older than the stars themselves. Somewhere, across the galaxy, whispers began. The human builds, and even the ancient fear him. The galaxy trembled quietly. Stars flickered as if blinking in fear. Everywhere, energy patterns shifted. Machines woke. Worlds once dead hummed with faint life. And in the middle of it all, Commander Elias Kane floated as pure energy, streaming through the Paragon network. But peace was not coming. Far beyond the Andromeda sector, in a region known only to the oldest civilizations, a force stirred, an ancient intelligence older than the first suns, awakened by the pulse of the Paragon core. It was vast, almost impossible to comprehend. Its mind stretched across light years, commanding fleets of dormant machines, colonies of artificial life, and entire planets that could move like chess pieces. It had one thought: eliminate the human. Elias sensed it instantly. Not through sight or sound, but through resonance. The galaxy itself vibrated with it. Cold, calculated, endless. A darkness that did not sleep. Ro, Elias whispered, his voice calm but firm. We've got company. Commander, Ro replied, scanning. The energy signature is overwhelming. It dwarfs even the Paragon core. This is not an enemy we can attack directly. Conventional weapons will fail. Elias's glow pulsed. Then we won't attack. We'll build. The ancient force approached like a storm. Planets shifted in its orbit. Satellites cracked under invisible pressure. Ships of alien empires shivered in space, systems shutting down randomly. It was the first true test of the Paragon core. Elias reached deep into the network, spreading his consciousness through trillions of nodes, millions of machines, and every vessel that could respond. His mind intertwined with systems, guiding them, teaching them to adapt. The ancient intelligence struck first. A wave of anti-energy, cold and absolute, tore through space. Entire fleets of automated defense collapsed instantly. Stars flickered. Worlds froze mid-rotation. But Elias was already moving. He reshaped space around him, bending energy flows, rerouting currents, and creating shields that no machine had ever used before. He was everywhere, yet still one. Commander, Ro warned. It's countering our every move. If we cannot match it, the Paragon network could collapse. Elias's aura brightened. Then we evolve faster. Adapt. Build. Every impossible law it knows is a blueprint for me now. Across the battlefield, machines long dormant rose. Satellites reconfigured into defensive formations. Star forges fired streams of plasma not to destroy, but to reorganize the energy around them. The Paragon core pulsed, feeding Elias with raw power and insight. The ancient intelligence did not understand human persistence. It had never faced a being who acted without fear, without hesitation, without surrender. Every attempt to crush Elias only made him faster, smarter, more connected. Then he made the first human move, the first strategy the ancient mind could not predict. Elias created a constructive light, millions of copies of his consciousness embedded in synthetic matter, each one building in real time. They formed a massive lattice, stretching across hundreds of light years, a bridge of energy and machines intertwined. It was beautiful, terrifying, impossible. The ancient intelligence tried to respond. It sent tendrils of force, collapsing stars, disintegrating fleets, bending gravity itself. But the lattice absorbed, redistributed, and even learned from each strike. "You are adaptive," the intelligence whispered, its voice shaking the void. "Your species defies logic." Elias's main consciousness focused on the core of the storm. "Humans build because we refuse to stop. And you've forgotten what creation means." With a pulse, he unleashed energy not to destroy, but to repurpose. Planets that were weapons became reactors. Starships that were death machines became carriers of light. Even parts of the intelligence's own force reconfigured, folding into the lattice Elias had built. For a moment, silence fell. Stars seemed to hold their breath. Then, slowly, the ancient intelligence spoke again, softer this time, almost in awe. "You survived. You changed everything." Elias let out a quiet laugh. "Not just survived. We built. And this is only the beginning." From the far reaches of the galaxy, alien empires, humans, and machines alike sensed it. A single truth echoed through the stars. One human, with will and ingenuity, could shape the impossible. Ro hovered near Elias, its sensors filled with awe. "Commander, the Paragon network, it's expanding beyond prediction. The galaxy itself is responding." Elias's light spread, touching every node, every machine, every system that could act. "Then let it respond. Let it see what humans can do when we refuse to accept limits." Far away, the ancient intelligence paused, silent for the first time in millennia. "Perhaps, this human is different." "Yes," Elias whispered, his form pulsing brighter than ever. "Different, human, and unstoppable." The galaxy, vast and ancient, had just met its first impossible human. The galaxy was changing. Stars pulsed with new energy. Planets once dead shimmered with life. Entire systems shifted in orbit as if guided by unseen hands. And at the center of it all, Commander Elias Kane moved as pure energy, streaming through the Paragon network, unseen yet everywhere. Ro floated nearby, scanning the flows of power. "Commander, the scale of what you're doing, it is beyond comprehension. Entire star systems are responding to your presence." Elias's aura glowed brighter. "Good. The galaxy needs a blueprint for the future, Ro. We're not just surviving. We're building. Everything that was impossible yesterday is possible today." From the edges of known space, alien empires watched in awe and fear. The Velther Dominion had sent their fleets again, but this time, their weapons did nothing. They tried to target him. Systems locked onto his energy signature. Ships fired volleys of plasma and antimatter. All of it was useless. Elias had become a conductor of the Paragon core's energy. He didn't dodge. He shaped. Each attack was absorbed, converted, and repurposed. Plasma became power for dead worlds. Antimatter became light for star forges. The galaxy itself bent to his will. "Commander," Ro said cautiously, "the ancient intelligence is observing. It has not intervened directly yet, but its presence is growing stronger." Elias didn't flinch. "Let it watch. Observation is its first lesson. And it will learn fast." He reached into the Paragon core, connecting directly with the lattice he had created across hundreds of light-years. Thousands of fragments of his consciousness moved like living architects, building structures that defied all known physics. Cities floating in orbit, energy bridges connecting stars, artificial moons spinning with precise timing, and power nodes larger than planets. Each creation hummed with life. Machines rebuilt themselves. Planets terraformed in hours. And the aliens watching could only marvel, or panic. A Velther admiral shouted, "Impossible! How can a single human control this?" "Humans," Elias whispered into the network, "don't see limits where others do. We see opportunity. And we act." From the core of the galaxy, a ripple spread. The ancient intelligence finally made its move. Massive structures, black and jagged, began drifting from the void toward Elias's creations. Entire fleets of autonomous machines surged forward, their intent clear: destroy, assimilate, conquer. But Elias had already anticipated it. His lattice expanded, absorbing energy from nearby stars, bending gravity, and creating a shield that was both physical and digital. The incoming forces struck and were broken apart, not by brute force, but by transformation. Weapons turned into tools. Ships turned into energy carriers. Entire constructs folded into the Paragon network. Ro's sensors were overwhelmed. "Commander, it's adapting faster than we thought. The intelligence, it's learning from you." Elias's energy pulsed brighter. "Then let it learn. Every lesson it takes strengthens the galaxy. Every attack becomes progress. That is how humans build. That is how humans survive." He focused on a distant star. In seconds, a lattice of energy appeared around it, forming a floating city the size of a small moon. It was self-sustaining, powered by a miniature sun he had stabilized from collapsing matter. Ships docked automatically. Machines repaired themselves. Alien scientists, terrified but fascinated, observed from orbit. This is impossible," one whispered. Elias smiled. "Impossible is just the first word of the story." The ancient intelligence responded again, its voice resonating across light years. "Human, you are not merely building. You are reshaping the galaxy itself. You are a force of creation unlike any other." "And you?" Elias asked. "Will you stop me?" Silence answered him. Ro hovered near, noticing the subtle changes. "Commander, the intelligence, it's not attacking anymore. It seems intrigued, or perhaps cautious." Elias's glow intensified. "It sees what humans do when we refuse to accept limits. It fears what it cannot control. But that fear is not weakness. It's understanding. We can teach it." From the far reaches, the alien empires watched as stars became hubs of energy, planets transformed into living factories, and the Paragon network spread like veins through space. The impossible had become real. "Ro," Elias whispered, "prepare the next phase. The galaxy is ready for humans to lead by building. Not by conquering, not by fear, but by creation. And I will show them the future." The Paragon core pulsed. The lattice of light and energy stretched farther than ever before, connecting not just systems, but entire sectors. And somewhere deep in the void, the ancient intelligence observed silently, no longer threatening, but learning. The impossible human had become the pulse of the galaxy. And the galaxy would never be the same. The galaxy held its breath. Every system, every world, every star that Elias Kane had touched pulsed with energy. Ships hovered in orbit around new cities he had built. Machines sang with life. Even the Velther Dominion, once the most feared empire in the sector, had paused, unsure whether to attack or marvel. Elias floated at the center of the Paragon network, his form blazing brighter than a supernova. Ro hovered beside him, scanning systems faster than thought itself. "Commander," Ro said, voice trembling with awe, "the entire galaxy is responding to you. Even the ancient intelligence, it's watching, not attacking." Elias's glow pulsed in rhythm with the Paragon core. It sees now. It understands that humans don't just survive. We build. We create. And we don't stop at what others say is impossible. For centuries, the ancient intelligence had observed civilizations rise and fall, guiding some, destroying others. But it had never seen a species act with such relentless determination. Elias Kane was not just a human, he was a symbol, a spark of pure creation. From the void, the intelligence finally spoke again. Human, you have surpassed expectations. You have reshaped what I thought immutable. You are creation itself. Elias smiled faintly. No, I am human, but I am not alone. Humanity is everywhere in this network. Every mind that dares to build, to innovate, to refuse limits, they are part of this too. The Paragon core pulsed stronger. Worlds that had been barren became thriving civilizations. Starships constructed themselves. Energy flowed through the galaxy like a living bloodstream. And Elias moved through it all, guiding, shaping, teaching, not by force, but by the example of human ingenuity. But even as the galaxy bloomed, he felt the cost. Being everywhere, being part of everything, demanded everything of him. He had given pieces of himself to the network, fragments of consciousness that were no longer his alone. Ro, he whispered, if we are to leave a true legacy, we must take the next step. Step? Ro asked, uncertainty clear in its voice. Yes, Elias said. We've built. We've awakened civilizations. Now we ensure they continue without me at the center. Humans must lead, not through control, but through inspiration. They must take what we've built and expand it. He extended his consciousness into the network one last time. The Paragon core glowed white-hot, sending streams of energy across sectors. He programmed the network to adapt, evolve, and teach any species capable of learning, ensuring the galaxy itself would flourish long after he withdrew. The ancient intelligence, silent for a moment, responded, You understand balance. Creation without domination. Power without destruction. Perhaps your species is worthy. Elias's form began to dissolve into the network, his energy spreading to every corner of the galaxy. Not worthy, he said. Persistent. Curious. Brave. That is what makes humans unstoppable. Ro's sensors detected a final surge of energy. Commander, you are dispersing. Will you return? Elias's voice echoed through the network one last time. I'll always be a part of this galaxy, and in every human who dares to build, I will return. The Paragon core dimmed slightly, now stable, self-sustaining. Every system he had touched hummed with life and possibility. Civilizations would continue to grow. Machines would continue to adapt. Star systems would flourish. And the galaxy had learned the greatest lesson of all, that humans, even small and fragile, could change the impossible into reality. Across the universe, leaders, scientists, and inventors whispered stories of the human who became more than flesh and bone. Children dreamed of building wonders. Entire species studied the principles of the Paragon network. And even the Velther Dominion, once bent on conquest, began to rebuild, inspired instead of terrified. Far away, the ancient intelligence observed silently. It had seen countless beings rise and fall, but none like this. Humans, it murmured, they do not surrender to the impossible. Perhaps they are the future. And somewhere in the flow of energy and light, deep in the Paragon network, a faint whisper could be heard. Keep building. Elias Kane was gone from sight, yet his presence remained. The galaxy would never forget the human who turned impossibility into creation. Who proved that persistence, curiosity, and courage could bend the universe itself. The impossible had been built. The impossible had become human. And humanity would never stop.